What's up everybody, welcome back to the channel. Today's video we're going to be talking about a trap that a lot of people are falling into, especially Gen Z, including my coworkers and friends that I personally have known and been friends with for a long time. Picture this scenario, you're in your early 20s, you just got a new job, it may even be your first real job, and you're starting to rack in grown man money, adult money. You're like, wow, these paychecks are way fatter than when I was at Wendy's making $13 an hour. But then you look at your car and you see, this beat up 2003 Honda Civic. I don't want to drive this anymore. I deserve to have a nice car. I mean, I'm making nice money now. So you junk your old crap car and you get a brand new, Tesla Model Y or new Hyundai or whatever you buy. And what does everybody around you say? They tell you congratulations, they say the car looks great, they say all these positive things, so you're really happy about your purchase for about a week, maybe a month. You post it on Instagram, you get a bunch of likes, all these people are hyping you up, but then you look at your bank account and you realize you may have just made one of the biggest mistakes you're going to have to deal with for the next 2 to 3 to maybe even 5 years, if not more. But you're not at all alone in this mistake that you didn't realize was a mistake. When you thought you were increasing your status and, treating yourself to something special, something nice, you thought the exact same as a lot of people that are in Gen Z right now. A lot of people in this current generation and just people in their early 20s, mid 20s. I have a coworker that is 33 and he just spent $70K on a truck. Well, he didn't spend it. The bank gave him $70K and he owes it for, I believe, 4 or 5 years now. It's not always these huge balances though. We're talking smaller balances on paper, but with high interest rates, payments are eating up 13% plus of your total income, and the loans will stretch up to 7 years long, which I believe may have been what my coworker got on his truck. The total U.S. auto debt just hit over $1.7 trillion, and young buyers are getting hit hardest right now. And if you made that mistake, I'm not shitting on you. I drive a 2011 Chevy Malibu. You probably drive a much nicer car than me, and I almost fell into the same exact trap. And I am so thankful I didn't, but I almost spent $29,000 on getting a Civic, and I did not get that. And I'm very thankful that I chose not to make that decision. I've had to buy 3 cars in my entire life, and I am in my early 20s because my cars, I'm really bad at picking them. But instead of going into $29,000 in debt, I bought my current car that I've had for almost a year now. I bought it for about $4,750. Granted, since buying it, I have spent probably about $2,000 overall in repairs and such, but still, I own the car outright. I don't have any high interest debt or any obligations on my car, so it's not like the bank's going to come and take my car at any point. It is mine, so if it breaks down, I do have to fix it. But that is something that I am willing to do. I feel like I would be way too restricted if I had, 200 to 300. Some people, like the dude that has the payment on the truck is paying I think $600 a month for that truck. If I had that much of a monthly payment additional on top of my current payments, I would be absolutely screwed and I would not know what to do. In today's video though, I'm going to try my best to convince you to avoid falling into this trap. And if you already have, I'll try to give you steps to help get yourself out of it. Situation's been on my mind a lot recently because I've seen a few people at my work get new cars and take out huge loans. And one of my friends who's actually having a kid, he's expecting a kid later this year, just got a brand new car for I think $34,500. And he got a decent deal on the car, and it has, pretty good packages that they sold with it where he doesn't have to pay for repairs or anything like that up to 2 years or 100,000 miles and stuff like that. But all of my other friends were all congratulating him, and I said the car is nice, and it is a nice car, but I felt more worried for him than happy for him. The reason I say that is when you put yourself in that situation, especially with higher interest, he has, I think, 0% interest for either 6 to 12 months, something like that. But after that, obviously you're not going to pay off the whole car in 6 months. I believe the interest rate was around 14%. And he put $0 down, so that means 14% on, let's say he makes a few $100 payments over the next 6 months. 14% on $34,000 flat. That's quite a lot. I'm upset about the student loans I have, and it's 25,000 or 25,000 on one loan and 7,000 on the other loan. And those are eating me alive, so I couldn't imagine being in a situation where you have even higher interest and you have a kid on the way. That would very much scare me. But I know they have a good support system around them. I don't think it'll be a problem, but this is also a friend who has told me that he doesn't have enough money in his budget right now to start investing. Regardless, I hope the best for him, and I really hope he takes some of the steps that I'm going to talk about in this video and implements them into his own situation. First thing first, let's just talk about some numbers. Car loans on average for Gen Z, which is age 18 to 28, is about 20,200, which is actually lower than millennials and Gen X pay. They're around 22 to 23,000. But the problem here is, and the biggest trap here is, Gen Z is paying the highest interest rate of all those generations, which is around 13% on average. So you end up paying $9,700 in interest on the smaller loan. Monthly payments that Gen Z averages is like $522, I think, which is said to be averaging out to be 13.4% of household income, which is the highest burden of any generation. I think it's even more than that for most people. I know people that are making $2,500 after tax, and they're paying $600 a month in interest. That's just a horrible situation to be in, especially after you pay rent and pay for gas nowadays and groceries. You're left with almost nothing, and then you obviously want to spend a little bit of your money on yourself, and then all of a sudden you look at your bank and you have $20 and you just got paid. This part that I'm about to say is truly the saddest part, though. The average new payment just hit $777 in the middle of 2026, with the average amount being financed around 44K, and a shocking 23.9% of buyers are signing 84-month or longer loans. That's 7 years, and that's new records. It's never been that long. And this is leading to higher delinquency rates for Gen Z and millennials, and becoming upside down on your car loan and having to lose the car that sometimes you sink, $10,000, $15,000 into, and then now you have no car and your credit takes a massive hit. Let's go over some of the reasons why this has even become an issue now for Gen Z. Reason one, I would say, is social media and like status pressure. Everybody wants the hot new thing, and if you pull up your Instagram or TikTok, you see your peers or just celebrities in, leased luxury SUVs and sports cars, and you go, I want that too, I need that. Car dealers know this, and they get really excited the more people post stuff like that. The second reason I would say is high car prices, and there's not really that many options. Affordable new cars under 20K basically don't exist. Like, even myself, I almost bought a Civic for $29,000. Reason three, I'd say, is poor financial literacy and just being a first-time buyer and just making the first mistake. A lot of people have, thin credit files. They don't really know what they're doing. They're just facing the world for the first time, and I totally understand that. They're new to all this. And dealers will try to be predatory and push your loans to longer lengths and tell you that they're making the payments more affordable, which in the short term they technically are, but if you focus on just monthly costs instead of total costs, you take that 72 or 84 month trap, you're just absolutely screwed, and the interest is going to eat you alive. Reason four, I'd say, is just the crazy tactics that are being pulled. There's a lot higher APRs for low credit and loan packaging things that they just don't need. Like, they'll throw in GPS and extra warranties and do all this yo-yo financing, and the Gen Z people just typically trust the salesperson and believe that the salesperson is trying to give them an even better deal by throwing in this bonus and this add-on, and we're going to rotate your tires right now, even though it should be a new car. This is kind of the trap that my friend fell into. He did get a lot of good add-ons, but it just really hurt him in the long run because he has a short credit history, and they threw in all these bonus packages, and now he's stuck with this loan. Reason five is because if you stack this with other debt, like student loans, rent, or credit cards, that car payment suddenly means skipping savings or living paycheck to paycheck long term. Let me tell you how you can fix this or how you can avoid this. You need to follow a better rule. You need to aim for about 20% down if you're buying a new car and get a 4-year loan maximum if possible. And you're going to want to try to pay that off even sooner, even if you do get a 4-year loan. You need to try to manage and figure out where every dollar is going and have this car payment be under 10 to 15% of your take-home pay. And that should include insurance, gas, and maintenance. You also really just need to shop smart if you're buying a new car. I really recommend getting a used car, but some people are going to want a new car regardless. So get pre-approved from credit unions or banks first, and definitely negotiate the out-the-door price, not the payment. And again, if you can buy a certified pre-owned vehicle that is, $10,000 or $15,000. I know it's hard to find nowadays, but if you can find something like that, that'd be fantastic. I mean, I got my car for under 5K, and it had a few issues. It had a cracked windshield and all this, but you can find pretty good cars for a little bit cheaper, and they may not look flashy or feel cool to drive, but if they get you to A to B, that's all you need. Before buying, you should definitely build up your credit and have an emergency fund just in case you can refinance later if the rates drop and your credit improves, or if, God forbid, something bad happens, you're not going to get your car repoed. If you've already fell into this trap, then what you really need to do is look into refinancing if you can, and definitely make extra payments to your principal. Or sell if you're upside down on it. There's no reason for your car to get taken away from you and you just lose everything from it. Try to sell the car back and get maybe some of your equity back if possible. But cars depreciate so fast that even that's hard to do. People need to realize that they're buying a liability when they buy a car. And when they buy a liability with debt, it causes so many issues if you're not able to keep your cash flow up and if it takes up too much of your monthly income. It isn't Gen Z's fault that all these sky high prices and inflation is running rampant, but we can control our current choices and we shouldn't let depreciating assets derail your entire future and investing in home ownership and freedom in general. If you or somebody else is stuck in this trap, or you were able to climb out of this trap by putting extra principal payments down every single month and grinding your way out, I'm really proud of you. Leave a comment down below, let me know. And thank you guys for watching the video, honestly. I'm going to be making more videos. Check them out. And yeah, that's it. Drive safe and smart. I'll see you guys next time. Bye. Subscribe, by the way.